What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Right, so what we're doing today. So basically, we're going to go ahead now, and I already gave you my opinions on, what I think about the boy himself in my last video. Clearly, I love the card. So come, let me show you how good it is. Does it fix all of Beetrooper's current problems? No. The biggest problem with Beetrooper currently is the fact that it needs 2 to 3 insects to begin to play the game. So I guess you could say a bit of consistency is the issue, right? Either you have a resonance insect and a extender, or 2 to 3 insects on the board to get you to play the game. So that is the biggest issue with the deck. But I love this deck and I'll try anything to have it playable in the least. So we're going to go ahead and do so now. Go over 3 variants of the deck that I'm currently testing, right? So go ahead and praise our boy almighty Saturn. Cruel Saturn. Right? So we're going to just go ahead and revise what our savior has allowed us to go ahead and given us the flexibility to do. Right? Let's hop right in. Right, so onto the first list, right? So basically this list is more like of a mid-range, I guess you could say, the all-reliable bare bones combo, something that you can quote-unquote depend on. It's more consistent, more ways to chain block, so on and so forth. This might be what I sit on for the duration of the deck, until we get more support and so on and so forth. This will change. Disclaimer: all these lists are subject to change. None of this is set in stone, right? And once this I go off the list, we're just going to go ahead and jump into replays. With that being said, firstly we have 3 copies of Pin the Bullseye, one of the better insect extenders in the game. Inflict 200 to your opponent, and time is called Handshake. One copy of Sting the Poison. So the thing with playing 1 copy of Sting the Poison is that we're trying to make our primary normal summons in this build. They're trying to be Resonance Insect, and they're trying to be Murmello, right? Maybe Scout Bucky. This is a good normal summon, yes, I will agree, but it's not what I'm really trying to my best to normal summon. I really wish at some point in the... Right, so at some point in the future, what I would really love for this deck is 2 things. I myself would be happy for a Link 1, but Link 1s for certain decks end up being toxic, and I can tell you that a Link 1 for Beetroopers will be just as obnoxious as a Link 1 for Prank Kids. Right, I'm telling you. So what I would want for this deck is a way to search any level 4 insect monster, and if you control a Beetrooper field spell or Beetrooper formation, you can special summon a Beetrooper from deck. That's what I would want for this deck. And a card that says if it's used as link material or fusion material for a Beetrooper card or insect card, it can do X, basically like a Mathmech diameter to protect Armorhorn from interactions, because Armorhorn is kind of the choke point, right? So that's what I would want for future support. So chapter, so we're going to continue here. 2 copies of Zextagger. I'm not really too sure when this card is coming out. Hopefully soon, because it's very decent with a chain block. 1 copy of Assault Roller. Have to play the 1, right? It really does come up sometimes. 3 copies of the better extender in the deck. 2 copies of Scout Buggy. So Scout Buggy's whole thing is just summoning Cicada King. That's all it does.
What is my purpose?
Summoning Cicada King. That's all it does.
Oh my god.
2 copies of Sting Lancer. So Sting Lancer right now in the game is in a really good spot, because let's say you activate it to chain it to Bestials, right? Probably a Bestial is trying to banish your Saturn, right? You can just go ahead and bounce it, or bounce one of their cards that they're trying to go ahead and tier element cards and so forth. Doomdozer is Doomdozer. I mean, come on, it's a combo piece. It pushes for game state. Dream Cicada. So notice I'm not playing Oily Cicada, because Oily Cicada needs you to specifically draw Oily Cicada and Dream Cicada, which is not going to happen all the time, so it can't depend on that. So just play the the better extender, which is the Dream Cicada. 1 Fusion Parasite, 1 Goki Pole, 1 Mighty Neptune, 3 copies of Pearl Exceed, 3 copies of the best card in the deck. It adds any level 5 or higher insect, 1 copy of Murmillo, 1 copy of the new. Basically, this is what we deserved this entire time. It's like our version of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, I guess you could say. 1 copy of Descent, because it's searchable, 1 formation. To be very honest, you can play multiple formation. Nothing is wrong at this point in time with playing multiple formation because of Saturn. 1 copy of Landing, searchable. 3 copies of Dark Blue No More, of course. It's if I'm not playing hand chops, and personally I think post Hypernova hand chops is kind of scary with triple tactics tasking running around. That's kind of scary, not gonna lie. Giant Ball Shot, haha. It's here, our version of World Legacy God Dragon. You love to see it. Activate it, can summon back any level 6 or lower insect. Notice this is level 5 and this adds on special summon. And also you can reveal 1 insect in your hand, target 1 monster your opponent controls or 1 insect you control with lower attack than the reveal monster. Then special summon both, well, switch control of both, and if you do, the monster you control becomes an insect. So basically, listen, think about this. Listen, right? You can reveal a copy of, like, let's say Doom Dozer in hand, right? You have Doom Dozer in hand. You can go ahead and give them a copy of Cruel Saturn. So you can take their monster, give them Cruel Saturn, and lock them into insects, because this locks you into insects. You can only special summon insect monsters. So that is just something to think about, right? 1 copy of Instant Fusion, of course. This card is probably going to be banned soon. Konami, please just ban Kick Kalos and leave Instant Fusion alone, please. I might be a bit biased, but it's the truth. Triple copies of talents, because half your deck is extenders, so you can just say talents, join to extenders, or if you already have those extenders, the talents, look at their hand, right? 1 copy of Flying Sting, highly searchable, and 1 copy of Trap Hole. So for the extra deck, 1 Alba Lenatus, 2 copies of the boy himself, Cruel Saturn. Right? 1 Mirror Jade, 1 Cicada King, Almerius, 2 Armor Horn. Not going to lie, 2 does come up. 1 copy of Invincible Atlas, 2 Pico Felena, 1 Almirage, 1 Papillion, because you can recur these. 1 Hagaki Kuromerino, helps you break the insect lock, and 1 Traptrix Kulamara, right, which is the card that helps you reset it, and it's also unaffected by links and whatever. So yeah, that is the first list, right? We're moving on to the second one. So now this is more of the Instant Fusion Turbo, right? So for the Instant Fusion Turbo, I decided to change the macros a bit. So yeah, this should be at 1 and this should be at 3. This was before, right? Because in this, definitely you're definitely not trying to normal summon this. You're definitely trying to normal summon these guys. These are your primary normal summons, and because of that we can't even play Murmillo, because Murmillo is a normal summon that we just cannot afford. So yeah, same lineup for most of these insects. Only difference is that we play 3 copies of Orpheus Scorpio and Darlington Cobra. Pretty much the same. Also, we play 3 copies of this because it's more of an extender in this build, and in this build we play 2 copies of the fusion spell. Why? Because in the extra deck we're playing this card, right? So for this card we can go ahead and basically tribute a 200 defense or more, 2000 defense or more insect that is equipped, and special summon it to help us break the insect lock. So yeah, pretty much slightly the same. Only difference is that we're going to go ahead and turbo out Instant Fusion, and this one is more weaker to hand traps, because if this is stopped it's going to feel really bad. So talents in this one and this in this one is more imperative to find to help you extend your plays onto the next list. So for the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer list, we play the Bricks and the Fusion Destinies, right? We lessen this. Also, this is pretty much the same. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same list we're just moving some things around, right? So yeah, that's why I won't really go in depth over the list, but in the replays as well, I'll go more in depth, right? So yeah, onto the replays.
But wait, there's more.
So we're just going to go ahead and also shout out some honorable mentions, right? Because you can see, like, this, what Beetrooper used to be back when the deck wasn't so good, let's be honest. A lot of those cards have been rotated out for newer cards, right? So cards like Dragon Bite. So Dragon Bite, in all honesty, is a card that I really do love, but I'm being fair here, it's just not that good currently, because with Dragon Bite, it would really require you to have another insect monster level 4 or lower that is worth summoning, which is either going to be specifically Sting the Poison or Resonance Insect. So it's dependent, so it has the same issue with the Dream Cicada and Oily Cicada. Oily Cicada without Dream Cicada is nothing. Resonance Insect without probably Sting or Resonance or Buggy, which Buggy is meant for one thing, it's not that good. So hence why I'm not playing it. Maybe if it was a special summon, definitely. If Dragon Bite was definitely a special summon, it would see you play 1000%. Up next, Arbalist. Arbalist right now, it's not really necessary. We used to use it for follow-up or a specific play with Goldsark and this, but that's kind of obsolete nowadays, so don't need to play it. And also we're not really depending on this anymore, right? So yeah. The new card from Photon Hypernova, which is what's it called? Hexenaton or something like that. The Fairy card that special summons yourself if you control a plant or an insect in graveyard. To be very honest, you can completely rotate to that. So like I said, this isn't really for builds that you're focusing on special summoning this from the graveyard. You can cut this completely and play Foray as a extension of Tuner, which is pretty good. So you can just rotate that instead. Retaliating Sea currently is not in the best place because the best decks, one of them does not use fusion cards like fusion spells to fusion summon. The other does not care if its card is banished. Sprite doesn't care about its cards being banished, so doesn't Despia. They don't really care about the cards being banished or not. The only card that used to care about their cards being banished in the format was like Sky Striker or whatever that was, right? But currently, Rotating Sea is not in the best spot. Yeah, and Twin Bow locks you into insects for the duration of the turn, so not that best as an extender. Primitive Butterfly, yes. Primitive Butterfly turn 1 is good, but after that it becomes a dead card, so it's give and take on that regard. Retort Fusion and Quagar Hercules is, if you're willing to give it the spot in your extra deck and your main deck, sure, you can do that, right? Contact Sea though. Contact Sea is in a good spot right now, because if you wait until your opponent to like if your opponent uses Sprite Starter and you activate Contact Sea, they have to pass their turn. They can't do anything with that, right? Because I guess they could probably make Elf, I'm not sure. So if you wait for them to, I don't know, maybe. But I know for a fact if against Tier, there isn't much Tier could do to take it off the board. They would have to specifically have like a Merly in hand and then link it off with Sprite Elf, but otherwise from that I don't think so. Maybe it's a case where Contact is in a decent spot, maybe. But those are the honorable mentions. Deck. Right, so it's going to top right in. So we're going to go and begin first is normal summon a copy of Resonance, a link off into Almirage, chain link 1 Resonance, chain link 2 Parallax Seed. To go ahead and chain block, chum block. We're going to add a copy of this guy. Since we already have Sting Lancer, we already have Amalgatron. And it's not really a case where we live or die by adding Doom Dozer currently with this hand. This build also plays through more interaction, more hand traps, I guess you could say, right? Continuing, go ahead and make these level 2, make a rank 2 Xyz play a wrong card. We're going to summon a copy of Trap Chicks Almoros, right? So what this does is it basically allows us to go ahead and abuse Resonance Insect. So go ahead, special summon a resident insect from the graveyard. We're going to link off into a copy of Hagaki Kumerino, which what this does is just basically it's just an insect body that takes you out of being insect locked. So that would have triggered the second, like once more, a second attempt of Resonance Insect, which will add us a copy of Doom Dozer. So from here, banish 2. We're going to link off 2 into this guy right here. Then Armor Horn. Dump a copy of Goki Pole. Goki Pole will go ahead and add us a copy of Mermello because it adds a 4 insect monster. Additional normal summon. We're going to go ahead and get the effect to add a trap hole. So we're going to add treacherous trap hole, right? So for this one, this is for removal of monsters, right? You could play Grave Diggers, you could play what's it called? Trapchick's Nightmare, whichever you see fit, right? So we're going to link off into a copy of Picophelena. Going to discard a copy of Resident Insect because we want it in graveyard. It doesn't really serve any purpose in hand. This is the wrong equip, but this is something we're going to use later, right? Shuffle back 3 because we have the leisure to do so. Then draw 1. So I wanted the draw to be fair, right? So I wanted to actually put back that card because it was a possibility to draw it. So I wanted the draw to be fair. So draw into the field spell. That is fine. Make Invincible Atlas. Add a copy of Doom Dozer again because currently we have all the big ones that we need in hand already, so that's the only add we have. So tribute itself to go ahead and switch a copy of Sting Lancer. This is also relevant because we want to go ahead and unlock ourselves from insects. Going to add a copy of basically landing. This is a play centered around not having like instant fusion in hand or landing in hand. This is the optimal way to go ahead and add, to get your bad boy in rotation. Cruel Satyr. And there he is, the man himself, the man of the hour, right? Going to go ahead and chain link 1, chain link 2, Zexdagger. So that's the thing, right? So I loved how over time, with all these extenders that we got, we have consistent ways to chain block our cards, right? So add a copy of Flying Sting, since we already have the field spell in hand. We're going to banish 3 for the effect of Armor Horn. That will go ahead and banish 3, and we'll go ahead and dump 2. But notice we don't really use the effect to special summon back, because the thing is that would clog zones, right? That would just clog zones, and that's not what I want. So make a copy of Pico. Could have summoned there, but we didn't. We chose not to. So again, we're breaking the insect lock, right? Because we need to break it to continue to play. So we're going to go ahead, make field spell, use the effect of Buggy, overlay into Cicada King. Cicada King can be used to summon back this in the next turn. So we're going to link off into Trapchick's Kularia. So this allows us to use our trap hole cards twice per turn, right? Because I don't think any of the trap holes are really once per turn per se. Going to go ahead and put that back because we need a way to use our our Flying Sting. So we need a name on board. So that's what this guy's for. So now what we're going to go ahead and do here on the opponent's standby phase, do the effect of Papillon, and then that will trigger the effect of Fusion Parasite to go ahead and go into Mirror Jade, Beetrooper, Mirror Jade, right? The Ice Blade Dragon. So let's say we activate this, use it so it pops basically. Then we use the effect to negate something. Then we go ahead and use the effect to summon back a copy of Cruel Saturn to add a copy of Sting Lancer. We're going to move up Mirror Jade into next zone. So if we wanted to, we could have summoned the card from our hand. So then we're going to use Mirror Jade effect to send Albalinatus, and Albalinatus can add us a copy of instant fusion in the end phase. So then draw a turn. So that is the first test hand, right? That is the, I guess I could say, more bare bones streamlined combo. It doesn't lose automatically to cards like Droplets and cards like Dark Ruler. So once more, this is, I think, is the more consistent way to play. On to the next one. So the issue with this build, right, is that it's too good. Like, genuinely speaking, the problem with this build is it's suffering from success. What does this mean? Meaning that the ceiling of the deck is far too higher than the cards in its pool. There's not enough cards in the pool of insect cards to really give this deck a, you know, a bigger or better end board, and because of that it's kind of awkward. So that's what I found out from testing it, right? So let's go ahead and begin. So normal summon a copy of Orpheus here, Orpheus Scorpio. Dump a copy of our boy here, Scout Buggy. Special summon Cobra. Darlington will go ahead and add us a copy of Instant Fusion. Then, because we don't want to be insect locked, we have to go and link off firstly into Cherubini. Also, shouts out to the boys in the Beetrooper Facebook group. That's where I'm most active. Also, for, you know, all of us brainstorming in there to come up with combos. And this is something that we were talking about, right? So we put it into theory, and I was here putting it into practical use. So shouts out to one of my favorite groups on Facebook. Continuing, we're going to dump a copy of Goalkeeper is level 3, add a copy of Assault Ruler since we already have Resonance in hand. Continuing, right? Instant Fusion out a copy of the man himself, baby, Cruel Satyr. The boy. Love this card. Cruel Satyr makes another appearance, right? Chain blocking with Scale Bomber in hand, so they can't ash us. So go ahead and add a copy of Flying Sting, and then we can special summon a copy of Assault Roller, which will trigger the effect this time of Cruel Saturn, right? Go ahead and trigger that, but we won't use the effect of Buggy just yet. So we're going to make a copy of, you know, in Armor Horn, link off into a copy of Papillion for 1, add a copy of Zek Stagger. Go ahead and, you know, make a copy of Pico to discard and equip it to, you know, Cruel Saturn here. So you're probably wondering, and I very like this, how do we break the insect lock since we're already using Papillion to make it with Cherubini, right? So there's a pretty interesting card coming out in Photon Hypernova to fix this. We're going to go ahead and shuffle back 2 to draw 1. Since we're able to do so, draw a copy of Sting Lancer. So now, where's this going? Wait, where's this going? You're probably wondering. We're going to go ahead and special summon a copy of Perfect Great Insect. You can, you know, special summon from an extra deck by attributing 1 insect monster with 2000 more defense equipped with an equipped card, which this does, and this is. Right, so going to go ahead and add a copy via the effects of. Alright, so going to go ahead and add a Mighty Neptune. Right, so then we're going to go ahead and special summon, since we've already used the effect of this, in we don't really care about it anymore, right? So we're going to continue. Dump the wrong amount of cards there, dump that. Going to make a copy of Atlas. Go ahead and special Sting Lancer to go ahead and chain block with Zek Stagger. So this will add us a copy of the field spell, since we already have Flying Sting rotation, and also this needs a field spell active to get its board wipe. So we're going to go ahead and basically pass turn. So basically right here, I somewhat misplayed, because here, right, you can't really go ahead to basically shuffle back the 3 to get the draw. I should have kept Buggy in graveyard, and that would have given us access to Cicada King to go ahead and have for you know, Cruel Saturn. So shuffle back 3, it's a special summon, overlay into Hope. So we would have, technically we would have had Hope, Cicada King, and we also would have Flying Sting, right? So the end board is Flying Sting, Cicada King, Hope, and then, you know, same thing just like last turn, you know, go for that guy, go into Mirror Jade, you know, Mirror Jade, banish 1, negate a spell and trap, you know, bounce back a, you know, card, then add a copy of, you know, Descent. So we could just put Mirror Jade in the EMZ, and then, you know, so on and so forth. So yeah, so I guess that's the main reason why I didn't really summon Cicada King, because the zones would be clogged. So this is what I mean when I say the ceiling is just too high at this point in time. there isn't really much to really go into, and the things that we do go into probably will, you know, clog zones. So yeah, then just attack for game. Right, on to the next one. And here we are at the final replay of these lovely demonstrations, right? So do you remember when this deck was this deck was just basically DPE plus Stain Lancer and Resonance Insect? 2020, what the time it was. So basically, yeah, seeing as how Fusion Destiny is at 3, and I guess you could say Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is at the cheapest it's ever been, you know, why not try it basically once more? So instead of using like a Mirror Jade variant, we're using that slot for you know, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So I think Destroy Phoenix Enforcer build would be better with like the Parallax Seed stuff to help you play through hand traps and so forth, right? So if your opponent is like doing all this attempt to stop you, you just say, okay, activate Fusion Destiny, and you have to now contend with a Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So, you know, continuing, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of, you know, Almirage, go ahead and special summon on Chain Block, make a copy of this boy. So we're going to just basically go through like the bare bones combo with some slight variations, right? Special summon back that. Going to go ahead and make Armor Horn, add Zex Dagger, special summon. So in this build there's no Marmello, because I guess Marmello on DPE would probably be a bit redundant, right? So extra normal summon out, make a copy of you know, Hagaki Kuromerino, and basically add a copy of Sting Lancer. So we have all our big boys really in rotation. Make Atlas, go ahead and tribute, make Sting, add a copy of the Fusion Spill to go ahead and make the man himself, Beetrooper Rule Setter. Go ahead and add the Field Spell. It's all dependent on really what you want to do, right? So because you could add, like, let's say you value the Field Spell more than you value the board wipe of what's it called, of Great Perfect Insect. Let's say, for example, let's say they're playing a deck that needs Field Spell, like Kashatri Law or you know, Prime Planet Perlino. You know, you don't really care, you could add Flying Sting instead. So go ahead and Chain Block. So go ahead and banish that, trigger the effect, special summon back Sting Lancer, go ahead and link those off into Pico Felena to go ahead and discard Flying Stinker. We just can add it back anyway, it doesn't really matter. Shuffle back 3 because we can do so. Go ahead and draw a card, we draw into Dream Cicada, a good extender. Go ahead and, by the way, this should be equipped to that, link off into Papillion for 2, go ahead and tribute, make a copy of this to break the insect lock, and then we can add a copy of Flying Sting Lancer, right? So it doesn't really matter. So we can activate this to go ahead and special out a copy of Goki Pole. Since we have this in hand, we can go ahead and special summon it, make a Cicada King, and then we can go ahead and, you know, activate that. So we have in rotation here, potentially we could have Flying Sting, DPE, Cicada, and this to special summon back something from the graveyard, right? Which in this case we really didn't. So what we should have done here basically is we should have reset our Doom Dozer to then banish these two and then dump like Battle Wasp, Sting the Poison. So with that we could have had Sting the Poison as 1 interruption, Cicada 2, DPE 3, with this to be 4, Sting Lancer in hand to be 5, and Flying Sting to be 6, with follow-up, right? So continuing, so yeah, Flying Sting, hypothetically could add Flying Sting also, right? So Papillion to go ahead and, you know, use it for DPE fodder. So that could add that. And then we could, you know, Flying Sting Lancer to add a copy of the Field Spell anyway for follow-up for next turn. And then, you know, Flying Sting to negate. That to summon back a copy of Cruel Satyr. Right? Cruel Saturn to add a copy of, you know, whatever we need. So, well, let's say that we have to, we're not given the leisure to basically, you know, summon back one with the effect of Papillion, then we can just add a copy, destroy it, and instead of summoning back Cruel Saturn, because Cruel Saturn will insect lock us, we can just go ahead and summon a copy of Resident Insect for follow-up, and then, you know, DPE will come back in the standby phase. So yeah, that is the three variants I'm currently testing, right? So yeah, that was the deck profile and theory crafting test hands for Beetroopers post Cyberstorm access. You know, highly doubt that we'd get another card in the same set, you know, because for the past couple of times, you know, that's the trend, right? Thunder Patrol got Raven, Mutants got Mutant, and it was only that one card, right? It wasn't really anything else, so yeah. So hopefully in the future we can get some more cards, but that's currently what I'm on. Probably I'll be going to go ahead and put those duels that I've been doing into a video so you guys can see, you know, most people against actual decks. So with that being said, stay safe, love you, Rogueman out, let's go, Beetrooper Supremacy baby.